That's exactly why, like, Final Fantasy 14 videos on YouTube are mainly drama videos. These, like, there's not enough content that drama happens, and then I can cover the drama. I was gonna say the most exciting thing that happened for Final Fantasy 14 2023 was Xenos versus Pyro. I heard that a lot of people have been talking about this lately. And like, I think that's why 2 days ago when we did Criterion, like my Criterion mates were like talking about their thoughts on Endwalker. And I was like, I just thought it was like a random question that they asked, but it all makes sense now because Zepla made a whole video about Endwalker being her worst Final Fantasy 14 expansion. So let's hear why.
Hey Buns, today we need to talk about the Endwalker patches because, look, this is a video that I wanted to make quite some time ago, but I myself actually got really burnt out for the first time in the entire time I've been playing these games, which is since 2015, since Heaven's Ward. I've been an active player ever since then, and it was the first time that I actually felt like I really needed to step away and take a breather, and I did just that, because although I had thought about a lot of these things before, I was thinking, well, am I just being burnout? Am I being unfairly negative? Am I being a hater? So I took that break, and I came back feeling refreshed and revitalized and in love with the game again. And
Now she played Genshin Impact.
You know, working on my glams, I'm raiding, I'm doing the hunt trains, got my bluebird bow, which I love, and I can't wait to get the bunny staff. These are amazing. So looking forward to Dodge Hill, looking forward to the Fan Fest in London, and overall, you know, back in love with this game.
Also, she's going to Fan Fest in London. Oh, because she must have so many friends in like EU servers, so that makes sense. I really wanted to see her in the NA Fan Fest, but she wasn't there.
It means so much to me and is really home for me. But with all that said, looking back now with a much more clear mind, I think, I definitely feel that the concerns that I had before, some of them definitely had real merit. And I think it's not a coincidence that it's not just me, but almost everyone I know seems to be burnt out with FFXIV right now and just not logging into the game or raid logging or just completely disinterested and feeling like, well, there's so little pressure to log in and I could either log in now or...
Wait, I have a question, because this is like my first expansion. Endwalker is like my first expansion. Like, I started playing Final Fantasy 14 right before Endwalker. And then I played all of Endwalker, did all the whole Savage tier. And now we're in the, what's this phase called? Like, sort of like the dead zone time where like, you're just waiting for the next expansion. The lull, right? I thought this was normal. Like, this is the first time I'm going through it, right? So I thought this was totally normal. So were other lulls like better than this lull? Right? Or like, I always assumed that they were just the same. Like every lull was always just like, time to play another game. Like even Yoshi P says, go play another game. I thought we were just, this was part of the process. You never did Eureka board. Oh yeah, I didn't. But that's what they had, I guess, during their lull. Like Eureka and Boja. Ah. I always like never know how to say that. It's like, is it Boja? Boja?
Or maybe next year, or maybe in 5 years, you know. And so, yes, there's still one more patch, but we know exactly what is going to be in it because, for better or for worse, this has been very, very predictable too. And I'm seeing social groups sort of dissolve, and it sucks. I'm concerned about the state of the MMO. And although I'm not doomsaying, okay, don't get me wrong. I'm not out here like, oh, well, this is the end of FF.
I'm panicking. Zepla says she's worried about the state of Final Fantasy 14. We're doomed. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know. I want to hear what she says. It's like, she's got experience. I don't have experience with this game other than Endwalker.
It's all over. It's ruined. No, I'm not saying that. Okay. But what I am saying is that there are concerning signs, and I'm seeing less engagement from everyone I personally know. And then I thought, well, you know, maybe it's just my group of people that I know. So I went on Twitter and I asked the question, to do a vibe check of the community. Be honest.
Be honest. How do you feel about Endwalker's patch content?
How do you feel about the Endwalker patches? And I was honestly shocked by the number.
Ooh, okay, let's read some of these. We desperately needed a Eureka, Baja, or something new we could get into. It's stale. Super disappointed. There's no long-term content. Every patch they release some form of content that lasts for like 3 days worth of gameplay. I feel like it was kind of noticeable that CBU3 was juggling both 14 and 16, so they phoned it in for some of the patch stuff. The Relic is a big letdown this expansion, and there's no real meaty content to get lost in outside of the usual fanfare. I really like the Criterion. It's just sad that a lot of people don't really give Criterion the chance. And I hear that they're stopping Criterion in the future, which sucks because I think 4-man content is amazing. I think the prizes should be better for Criterion. Maybe that would lure more people in, but I don't want them to get rid of it because I like it. So I don't know. I do know that there is content, but people don't want to do it. Okay, let me read at the bottom one. I feel like after 6.2, I've just been going through the motions. Story is very bland. Content seems light. It's the game I choose to play in my very limited free time. I wish I had something to work towards, but I'm bored. Damn, it makes me wonder, like, have they really achieved everything that there is to achieve in the game? Like, even I haven't gotten all the classes. I have so much to do. Scooter knows. He's like, why haven't you done this? There's so much to do. But to be fair, like, it makes sense why I haven't done it, because I'm still fairly, like, I've played like a little over a year now. Some of these people have probably been playing for like years, so they've gotten all the characters already, like all the jobs and everything, all the crafting jobs. Story's okay, but the game is pretty dead. My FC is usually active, but as of Endwalker, it's been dead. Yeah, I do think a lot of FCs are pretty dead. Like, doesn't it feel like a lot of us always try to like bounce around from FC to FC to be like, we're trying to always find a really cool FC? And I don't know, for me, like, I've been in a few already, and nothing like really stands out to me. They all feel more or less the same, slightly dead, have their own cliques. I haven't found a really awesome FC yet, but I think, like, for me personally, the best FC would be one with all my close friends in it, but I can't even ask for that because all of my friends are like in different servers, and friends come and go with MMORPGs. Like, 1 month this friend will be playing, and then a couple of months later, like, that friend ain't playing anymore, and then you're like, damn, I need another friend to fill that person's spot or something. You know what I mean? Like, sometimes FCs do like feel dead when people are like not playing anymore. So yeah, it's so hard to find a good FC for real. Overwhelmingly mid. Raids and MSQ have been good, but everything else is lacking in my opinion. Criterions became irrelevant after a week with no good loot, and Island Sanctuary is just daily chores. No relic grind and no instanced area like Eureka, Baja means no reason to log on. Well, I'm gonna say it. You guys play some Criterion. But I haven't done my Island Sanctuary. But I think that's mainly because I got bored of it. Like, I did my Island Sanctuary up to level 10 already, and I need to make it up to level 14 or 15, whatever the max level is now. But I haven't done it at all yet. I don't see any reason to, like... Okay, I do want the items, but it is a grind. It is such a grind and a chore. And I'm like, do I really want to do this, or do I want to do something else? I think everyone's already forgotten about the Deep Dungeon too. Oh yeah, they did come out with the Deep Dungeon, you're right. I didn't play it, but I know other people who played it. 10k hours in the game and stopped playing recently. It's become very repetitive. It can be. If you feel like you're just logging in to do dailies, like, and you stop yourself and think, why am I doing this? Like, do I really want to do this? Like, you start questioning yourself, then okay, time for you to have a break. You don't need to do your dailies, you know? Do it if you want to do it. But sometimes people just get into that like repetition or routine of like, this is what I know and I'm gonna keep doing it. But it could go down a path of you not liking it. In my MMO experience, FCs, guilds, whatever, seem to work best if there's a common thread of interest. That's true, Kadashian. So like I want to find a rating FC, but that I don't know, those seem kind of hard to find. Sometimes I can see how rating FCs would sometimes like work and sometimes not work, because I think some raiders don't want to play with every single raider. You know, like people pick and choose sometimes, and I guess the best FC is one with my static. Like our link shells of our static is pretty good. Like that's the only place I talk in. I don't talk in my FCs. I don't know, missing out on that sweet gil from daily roulettes. Nah, you don't get that much gil from daily roulettes, right? I think it's more of like people do it for the tomes. People do dailies for the tomes, and then you build up the items for one of your jobs. But if you have all the jobs unlocked, then you maybe some people want to like get all the tomes for like every single like outfit for all the jobs. Oh, you do get a shit ton of gil? Really? I thought it wasn't much. Yeah, I think most people do it for the tomes for their jobs.
Just felt like it's underwhelming. It's lackluster. It's
yeah, a lot of people seem to not
interesting. These are not people who are saying it's terrible, I hate it, it sucks. That's not really what I'm hearing that much. What I'm hearing is it's mid. It's fine. I don't really care that much. I'm hearing apathy. I'm hearing like...
You know what was good though? Final Fantasy 16. Very, very good.
It's okay. And honestly, that's not gonna cut it. Like, if we want to keep people playing this game long term and have people to play with, I feel like the game is going to have to find ways to get more people excited about it and get more people happy, looking forward to log in. I can't wait to log in and play FFXIV, because especially this year, I think what we're starting to see is that there are a ton of really quality games coming out. And they are, for better or worse, in competition for your time. And it's wonderful that FFXIV does not, you know, pressure you so much to log in. It has never done that. But in the past expansions, we have, although the game hasn't been pressuring you too much to log in, there have been exciting things that we could all log in together to do, that people had reasons to do. Yes, it is normal for, after a patch has been out for a while, people to get burnt out and bored. It's normal for, at the end of an expansion's life cycle, for people to get, well, I'll just go do other stuff. That's okay.
I think my issue about it is that I have been seeing the similar events. So like, I don't like the repetitive events. Like they need to change some stuff a little bit. Like the Moon Fair stuff. That felt similar to last year. The Halloween events, they feel kind of similar. The 10th anniversary, the one where Yoshi P talks to you. I haven't done it yet, but I assume it's kind of similar, right? Just feels like it's a cycle. What? Spoilers! He always comes. What do you mean? No, you're right. They should feel traditional, but not like exacto. Like just feel different in some way, but still traditional, I guess. Like I haven't even done it yet. I liked how the Moon Fair was fast, don't get me wrong. Because I was just like, all right, time to do it. You know, I want it done. Wham bam, thank you ma'am kind of thing. But I haven't done the 10th anniversary stuff yet. The same but different. I know it sounds strange, but it's like, okay, you can still have the event, but something about it should be different. Okay,
always happens. But what I'm seeing is this happening soon after, like a week after a major patch comes out, or like I started to see this phenomenon after the first like major patch of the whole expansion. 0.1 patch, 0.2 patch, 0.3 patch. This should not be as big of a phenomenon as it is so early on in the life cycle of the expansion. And so I'm worried. And we're going to talk about all the contributing factors. And if you're having a good time, good for you. I'm not going to tell you that you shouldn't be having fun. If you're having fun, great, keep at it. But
oh, I also want to say, like, something I have noticed also is like I thought that owning a house was like awesome. Like I thought it was gonna be like freaking awesome, right? And like it is at the start, like because you're excited. Yes, I won the lottery. Woo! I got a house. And then come to designing it, like that's fun too. But then once it's actually designed, and then like I read the stories, like the drama stories in it, that was cool too. After a while, I was like, there's nothing to do in my house. It's hard to bring people to go to my house unless I tell them, hey, please come to my house. Like, I'm alone. No, I mean, that's not what I said, but like I would throw up little, like small little parties or whatever on the party finder. I'd be happy if like one random person out of the blue showed up to like see my house, and they complimented saying, wow, it's really pretty. But other than that, like nothing happens. Like we need to have something that brings people into houses, like some little like mini game that you can play with your friends in a house, or you know, some sort of activity in the house that you can do. So I don't feel the need to have a house. I don't have a house anymore. I think FC houses make so much sense because like you want your FC to all go to that house. But having a personal, I don't really feel the need for one anymore. Because then it would just be me. It would just be me in the house, and I'd feel more alone. I stand in the cities because I don't feel alone there. There's people around me. I have the same problem with my real house. All you need to do is go outside.
This is an MMO, right? And we want people to be excited to log in. If they're not, then it's just not as good. It's not a single player game, even though lately it feels like they are trying to turn it into that. One thing I keep hearing from people is that, oh, I'm burnt out. But I don't think that's even the right word, because with burnout, you think normally that's when you do something so much, so often, every day, so hard and so long that you just get sick of it and you can't think about it. You don't want to think about it anymore. You're tired of it. And it's such a relief to stop. But this isn't really what I'm seeing with people. If these are people that want to do something. It's more like how burnout is actually thought of in the car world, where you just sit there, you stay put, and you're spinning the wheels, but you're not going anywhere. Getting in the car, there's a lot of smoke. This car could be fun to drive at some point. But
also, all the people who say they're burned out with Final Fantasy XIV and stuff like that, I think if something like freaking amazing happened in the game, all those people who said they were burnt out would literally come back. But something amazing, like bun girls all wearing hats, female Rothgar coming into the game, holy moly, everyone's coming back. They're like, look that, I ain't burnt out. What?
That point is not right now, because you are stationary. Now, one thing that I'm really tired of hearing, and I think a lot of us are at this point just sick of hearing, is, well, Yoshi P says that you can just go play other games if you're not happy with them.
God, that sounds like me already.
Doing, okay, I played other games for 6 months. Yes, I'm glad I can play other games. I'm glad that FFXIV doesn't pressure me to the extent that World of Warcraft used to. But I think that these are two ends of the spectrum. World of Warcraft being on the extreme end of, oh my god, I have to be on this treadmill and I have to keep up.
Yeah, I heard it's pretty.
That's a way to burn out quickly.
Crazy with World of Warcraft.
And now FFXIV is so far and going further in the other end of the spectrum of, oh, there's so little pressure.
Little to do.
That I could either do this today or I could do it next year.
Yeah.
You know, like,
there's actually, yeah. There's actually no FOMO really in Final Fantasy XIV, but there's FOMO in World of Warcraft. Because I know someone mentioned FOMO in my chat earlier, and I think, yeah, there's not much FOMO in Final Fantasy XIV, because I mean, that's kind of good, but there needs to be some FOMO, right? Some. It's nice that you can chill sometimes, but not everything should just be like chill. It needs to be a balance. I agree. You could take weeks to do like the Savage tier, right? You could do the ultimates anytime also. Well, they're called annual events, but those ones don't seem as fun. The annual events to me are not fun. I only do them to get the item. That's why the annual ones seem a little bit like a chore. Oh yeah, now I remember what I was gonna say. Yoshi P said in FanFest that they weren't making a third ultimate. I know a lot of people have talked about third ultimate, but I don't think that's happening, right? Unless they're like, surprise! We have the third ultimate. No, I really think they're not though.
It has a similar effect of just having people not in the game. They're just not playing the game, ultimately. That's the end result. And this damages social groups. It damages the health of the game and the longevity of the game, because a lot of times people will go play other games and they just won't come back. Seeing FFXIV go down this path where people feel less and less motivated or interested or incentivized at all to log in at end game I think that it's really helpful to listen. I cannot believe I'm saying to Ian Hazuko's. Just hear it. I stand by this because he does explain really well why it is important to incentivize players somewhat to play the game that you're making. And this is from the interview that Mike from Preach Gaming had with Ian at Blizzard HQ about 6 months ago. And this particular part of the interview really stood out to me because to me, I heard FFXIV all over this.
You know, our goal is never habit in the sense of like you have to log in when you don't want to. Our goal is for you to want to log in. Our goal is for you to want to play World of Warcraft and to look forward to getting back into the game, to have something you want to complete, something you want to chase. And if you're not wanting it, then getting you to do it despite that isn't a victory for us. It's just burning people out. And so I think giving people the freedom to feel like they can take a step away, do something in real life, play another game for a while without falling behind is valuable. I think the one thing that we do worry about when it comes to, you know, sort of the raid logging phenomenon or people taking breaks is the social nature of the game, is, you know, sort of the critical mass of keeping a group together. If the person who is really excited to log in to do things with their guildmates logs in and no one from their guild is online because of whatever reason, and then they just log back off kind of disappointed because they were hoping to play with friends but their friends weren't around, that can be an issue. And I think that's something, you know, going back to WoD, to Warlords of Draenor, that was probably the peak of the raid logging era, where really there was like, other than checking your garrison, if it wasn't raid night, there was nothing to do. That felt like a step too, like too far toward that end of the spectrum.
We joked around whenever Endwalker came out that, oh, Island Sanctuary, that's going to be the garrison of Final Fantasy XIV. And I thought we were kidding, but we weren't. It is actually, it feels a lot like the garrison. This expansion reminds me a lot of Warlords of Draenor, which sucks.
I can't relate because I didn't play WoW. I'm like, I don't know these references. It's okay to be like, you know, a content creator, to be concerned for the game that you love. That's totally fine. Like, I don't mind when content creators have a different opinion. That's like Zepla's having one now. Like, more people should have it, or feel free to say that. But whenever they do, they are scared that the community will like get mad at you for having such opinions, right? They're like, oh, you're being so negative. And it's like, no. It's like, they're just concerned. I don't think they're trying to be negative. It's like they care about the game. So I'm fine. I'm totally fine with it, you know? More people should be able to speak their mind so things can be fixed or become better for the game.
During Warlords of Draenor. Now, it's not as bad. It's not anywhere near as bad. But I'm sensing a lot of the same vibes of like loneliness and like I'm not.
I feel lonely. I feel it.
One of the biggest reasons why Endwalker has felt pretty lonely and isolating in same ways that Warlords of Draenor felt to me all those years ago is the lack of an exploration zone, the lack of anything like Bajra or Eureka or Zadnor. We just don't have that, and there's nothing added to the game that could even remotely replace that. And it's not even so much about like, oh, well, I just love farming fates in Bajra. I just love hunting down little items that has a tiny drop rate. And it's not really even so much about the specific things there was to do in Bajra. It's about the vibe of Eureka and Bajra. It's about being in a zone filled with tons of other players that reminds you that you're in an MMO. That there's a lot of people playing the same game as you, and it's really exciting, and we're all happy to be there for different reasons. Like, you might played a little bit because you're leveling, or because you're working on a relic, or because you're doing duels, or because you're collecting mounts, or because you're farming gil, you're doing cluster farming. There's a ton of different reasons why all kinds of different people would meet in these places. And you might meet people that you wouldn't have known otherwise. You might meet people that were strangers to you before, but you have shared this common purpose, and then you meet more often, and that's how you make friends in the game. That's one of the beautiful things about an MMO. But with the content that they're releasing now, which is like solo stuff and small group stuff, you're usually going in there with people you know or alone. And it sucks because it's like, where else can you even show off your mount to other players?
You know what?
Like, you can't do it.
She's talking about where can you show off things. I think like with Final Fantasy XIV, you can have like some of the best things in the game and you're like, hey, I want to show this off to people. But for me, it feels like people don't care what you have. Like, you can have an ultimate weapon, people don't care. Like, you can have a really freaking cool mount, people don't care. You can have amazing sick glam, people don't care. Like, I've never been messaged. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I think in other games, when I had cool things, people would message me and be like, oh my god, I love like for example in Neopets, I love your pets, they're so cute, your names are also really cute. And I'm like, oh, thank you. And then I'll be like, I like your pets too. But like, I never like see that. Like, I never get whispered those things. Like, I think maybe if you have an ultimate weapon, people just assume you bought it or something, you know, because that's the thing in Final Fantasy. Like, some people buy their ultimate weapons. Like, that sucks. Let me read the chat. Selena, you said you hated Boja and Eureka. I like the aspect that Zepla is talking about, how like you feel like there's a lot of people around you, and that's fun. I also like that one part where that one person gets chosen and they face the boss and everyone watches. I love that. I think that's a very that's a very cool part of it. Because like one time I was like, what if I get picked? I don't want everyone watching me and like hoping I don't die, and I die and I feel like I failed everyone, because I was like very new to it and I was very scared. Like, I felt the pressure. I was like, I don't want to be picked. So, and also like some parts of World of Warcraft, like the items dropping is RNG. I want a little bit more of RNG with Final Fantasy 14. I know a lot of people be like, oh hell no, trust me, you're gonna hate that shit if it's in the game. I just want a little bit. The only RNG we have right now is the mount dropping, right? Like when you're trying to farm a mount or something in a dungeon. Some items, I guess, that you can like try and grind for would be pretty cool. And so maybe that, if there was like an RNG element to like items, like for clothing and glam, maybe that's when people are going to be like, oh my god, you have that item? That's so rare. I've been doing that for a year and I haven't gotten it yet. Okay. She's been around for all the trends in popularity, so she does have experience about it for sure. Yeah, Zepla does. If Criterion was a bit easier and the rewards are better, none of this talk would be happy. Yeah, I said that earlier. I was like, I love Criterion. It's so much fun. We're trying to clear Savage. Yeah, if they just made better prizes, I agree. Like, people would actually do it. Like, if you're doing Criterion Savage, it's kind of like an ultimate. Nobody can die. One thing I've gotten messaged was over Necromancer title. Yo, yeah, I think that's something people would message about. Okay, so I know this girl who has Luckiest of Ladies title. I think she gets messaged a lot for that, because that's extremely rare too. Necromancer and Luckiest of Ladies, very good titles. I think if I got the title for the Criterion Savage, nobody would know where the hell that's from. So I don't think that's ever getting, like, I don't think people who have that title are getting messaged, because nobody cares about Criterion. But yeah, it's like I said, it's sad that they're gonna stop Criterion. I like 4-man content because it's so much easier to prepare a group of 4 people than it is to prepare a group of 8. RNG is annoying. I know, like, I knew when I mentioned RNG, some people say it is annoying. It is, but I think because I've been playing a lot of Grunda's Cafe, which is like Neopets, there's so much RNG in that. When you get the item that is RNG, you feel like amazing. You're like, hell yes. So maybe a little bit of that in Final Fantasy 14 won't hurt. In Final Fantasy 14, there's not enough FOMO items. Like, you can do all of this anytime you want. So you just need a balance. You need some FOMO things, some non-FOMO. RNG has its places. Vertical character progression isn't one of them. Horizontal, sure, in the form of glams. Yeah, like, I want it in the form of glams. Some of the glams like are like from dungeons and stuff is RNG and stuff like that, but like, it's not glams that you really want, I think, sometimes. We need like awesome glams that are like more rare, I think, to drop in certain content. Maybe I don't know how to solve the whole RNG thing, to be honest, but I do want some RNG.
We're in the city. Basha was the place to do that. It's the place where everyone is. It's the place that's happening that makes you feel like, oh, there's something cool going on and everybody else is doing it and I can't wait to be there with them. That's the heart and soul of an MMO. And without that, it just feels really, really empty, frankly. And I definitely feel like the lack of a place like that where everyone is, that feels like it's popping off, like this is the place to be, it might contribute to, or even be, a self-fulfilling prophecy where you get it into your head, well, I barely see anyone else, and so this game is dead, right? Of course, that is going to be reinforced if you're not doing anything. You're not called to do anything where you can actually see tons of other players around. I've been finding myself...
Yoja, you mentioned 2B outfit. Yeah, I wasn't around for the time that they dropped that whole set, but holy moly, that whole like set, the 2B outfits and stuff, and all, like, there was tons of like glam stuff that everyone wanted from that. I'm sure that was super hype. People would just like farm that on repeat until they got the 2B boots. I don't think there has been anything like the 2B boots since the 2B boots, you know? Like, that is such a go-to item piece that everyone must have. We need more item pieces like that. Yeah, the Nier raid, that whole thing, like so many sets of like glams in there. Even like the army outfit and stuff. Like, that's not the job I play, but I probably want to play that job so I can get the army outfit. We need awesome glams like that, please. And then everyone will be happy because they would just be farming that on repeat and wouldn't be complaining or thinking it's like dry, the patch of Endwalker.
Happy to see lots of people staying around the Aetheryte. And that's about as far as it gets in me feeling like I'm in an MMO. And frankly, that's unacceptable. One of the reasons that we had those before and we don't now is because in the past, Eureka and Basha, these exploratory zones, they were tied in with the relic journey. And for whatever reason, not only did they choose to remove these zones from Endwalker completely, but they also removed the relic journey. There is no relic journey for Endwalker.
Yeah, I've heard people complain about the relic journey.
Tombstones each time counts as a relic journey. So let me explain if you're new. In the past, in every other expansion of Final Fantasy XIV ever, the relic has been a very special weapon that has been a journey for you to get. Now, usually you complete it in stages, each stage becoming increasingly more cool looking, shiny. It transforms over time. And with each stage, you need to go grind some materials. You need to go, I don't know, farm fates, maybe do some dungeon or whatever to get the materials you need to upgrade it to the next stage. And so it's this long process that's meant to cover the entire...
Maybe people got messaged for those weapons. People don't get messaged for ultimate weapons, but maybe people who have relic weapons with the long grind, people are like, hey, nice weapon.
Expansion, and it really is casual content, because at the very, very end of it, very end of the expansion, then you have a pretty good weapon. And it's a spark.
Hot take here, there was nothing fun about doing DR 120 times to get my relics up at the end of Shadowbringers. Ah, okay. I probably would not like it either, to be fair. So Yoja, you prefer the tomes to the grind? Like, yeah, it's crazy because like some people want the grind and some people like the tomes. So I haven't done any of it, so I'm just like, I'm fine with either or because I don't do it. There's a good in between. Yeah, maybe they should just balance that so both sides can be happy, right?
Sparkly weapon, and it shows that you had dedication and you had patience. So it's a great way for a casual player who maybe doesn't want to raid to get a really cool weapon that they can be...
I mean, not just casual. Some people actually do grind these, like even raiders, to just get such a cool weapon. Like, I remember, Scooter, when you got your first relic, you were like, fuck. It was like a black mage weapon, was it? Oh, I don't know. It just sounded really long and daunting. Yes, your black mage Heavensward weapon. You made it sound like, dude, I'm never doing that again. And I was kind of like, okay, note to self, I probably shouldn't do that. The grind is awful though. Relics are a nightmare, but so worth. Yeah, I heard the relief in his voice. He was like, oh, finally, it's done. The first relic for Shadowbringers is pure hell. Everyone after that is like 8 hours per. Oh my goodness.
Proud of, that shows They were committed to this, and it's something to be proud of for sure. It always has been. But this is the first expansion where I have not heard shit from anybody about their relics, because the relics are in the game. The relics are still in the game for Endwalker. But to upgrade the relic this time, just turn in tomestones. And it's not even that many. In fact, most people, you can log in, and if you hadn't been spending tomestones, you have enough. And that's it. It's literally a tomestone weapon. There's no cool, like, there's no process really to get it anywhere. There's no journey. They just removed that completely. Why? Why did they do this? I do not understand. We have tomestone weapons already. Why do we need another worse tomestone weapon? I am truly baffled by this decision, by them to get rid of this thing that also served a very
they didn't
important
explain it,
purpose
huh?
of keeping people engaged with the game a lot between patches. It's the thing that, like, it gave you something to do between patches. For example, I think it was at the end of Stormblood where there was a big content drought, like a giant one. And maybe, I'm pretty sure it was end of Stormblood. And somebody had asked Yoshi P, what do we do? Waiting. It's such a long drought. What do we do? Waiting for the next expansion. And he said, oh, just get every relic weapon. And people were kind of mad at him at the time because it was kind of a cop-out answer. But it was a valid answer because getting each one was time-consuming. That's really what the purpose that it served in the past was to keep you busy waiting for the content. But without that, it's almost like they deliberately are now choosing to not have you play the game between the patches. This is the first expansion in all my years of playing FFXIV that I don't even know what my relic looks like. I don't know. And my friends who normally send me screenshots of, look, I just got the new relic for my job, and oh, I just got another relic. It's usually a thing we are excited to share because it's a big deal. It's like a big milestone every time that you get your relic and you upgrade it because it's hard to do. Nobody I know is even getting a relic. Nobody's even going after it.
Because it's too easy to get. They don't need to share it.
Because it's easy to get. It has no value because it's just anyone can get it. So what does it mean? What does it say? Why would they remove this? It just feels like laziness, frankly. It feels like maybe they didn't even want to put it at all, but they felt like they had to, and they put the lowest amount of effort into it as possible. They really phoned it in, and frankly, it's shameful because this is not what the relic is meant to be. It is meant to be something to keep you busy for a little longer, but it also
see,
like
I don't know, like what. Maybe like did people like complain to like the devs about the relics? Like there has to be a reason why they did it. Like maybe they were getting a ton of like messages like, why is the relics too hard? And they were like, all right, let's try make it easy. Maybe this is all an experiment. Having it super hard and then having it super easy, and then they're now let's make it in between.
That they do not want people even logging in that much. They just don't want you to feel like you need to log in at all.
It was easy how they did it before.
Now, the next thing that
oh, I thought it was hard. It was just grindy. Okay.
I am an MSQ Andy.
Repetitive
I live
grind
for the main story quest of FFXIV, and that will never change. But I have never been more disappointed with the main story quest than I have in this expansion's patches. Now, I loved 6.0. I thought it was great.
Oh, it's just like zero
but
story
the
and stuff, yeah.
Definitely left a lot to be desired. And I was really patient and forgiving for the first couple of major patches. I thought, well, you know, they're setting up for something else and we're just getting ready to pivot, and there's meant to be a bit of a lull between what's going into the next thing and blah, 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 blah. But looking back, I feel like I was just kind of making excuses. And I don't want to say that all of the story and every moment in the whole story was terrible. No, because there were good moments. There was a lot of really nice moments. Like the slice of life moments I thought were some of the better parts. Especially Estinian doing the push-ups was really nice. But I feel like it is shameful and obvious that they, instead of making the trial series side series like we have had with Sorrow of Wirelate or Four Lords in the past, They instead chose
Oh,
to
I wish I
make
experienced that.
the main story quest. They made the trial series the main story quest. We don't have a trial series. We do not have a side series of story of the trial bosses because they have just put it right into the main story quest. So that
sounded like the high five.
Less story content overall for us, but it's way less interesting. Because as soon as we were aware that there were these archfiends at the very beginning of the expansion, we knew exactly what was going to happen. Some people are saying, oh, well, it's just because 6.0 big arc ended and then we got a new arc starting in Dawn Trail, and so this is just in between, so you can't expect anything good. That's honestly bullshit, because being constrained in time to tell the story usually means that it's going to be easier to tell a good story if you spend enough time really plotting that out and considering it. Like, that's one of the major reasons why I often say Shadowbringers was such a solid story expansion, because they needed to tell the entire story of a planet from beginning, middle, and end within the course of one expansion. So there's all these new people you meet, there's this huge climax, and they need to wrap it all up before you go. And this made it really satisfying as its own package. So sometimes constraining the story is really, really good because you can get all the juice in better. But it feels like they really took a lazy path, to be quite frank. And they decided, oh, well, won't it be so convenient for us to just do callbacks to huge story moments in FF4 and try to recreate those. And a lot of times it felt forced, and it felt like we're just artificially trying to recreate this moment from FF4. And I found that to be very frustrating. And
you know what? I think why it doesn't affect me so much is because I don't expect anything. But I mean, like, I get it when people expect better things for the game that they love. But it's just something I guess I do for myself, where I'm just like, everything's just a bonus in life and don't expect anything. Yeah. Of course, you expect the game to be fun. Yeah, I know. But I guess, like, I'm just not really I don't know. I'm not really disappointed in anything. Like, then again, I didn't play, like I said, I didn't play the years before Endwalker, so I don't know. Like, this is all I know. I thought this was just the normal cycle, and I was just riding it. I played WoW for years. My expectation bar for content is so very, very low. Like, no, I see where Zepla is coming from. Don't get me wrong. Like, she this is her opinion and stuff like that, and she does make sense. But it's something I can't really relate with unless I played previous expansions, like, as they came out, and then had a better comparison. But I just want to know, like, what other people think. Who would be another good person who, like, Mr. Happy? Someone that's old school. Like, who are the old school, like, Final Fantasy 14 peeps? Mr. Happy, Zepla. Yeah, MTQ capture. Arthas, I think, only cares about ratings. Savix doesn't even play Final Fantasy 14 anymore. I think he's busy with WoW again. Asmongold, like, barely touched it. Oh, sorry. You were just saying, after watching Zepla, MTQ capture, Arthas, Savix, Asmongold, Gronk, Final Fantasy 14 Twitch streamers, Twitch recommended me your streams. Hell yeah. I thought you were listing all the, like, OG FF14 people.
We can, instead of having a side story series like Sorrow of Wirlet, which I know that's a tough act to follow, we'll just make that the main story quest instead. That has sucked. The story has gotten so predictable that in the previous live letter, they even told us who the next boss was going to be, because they know that we know. And they did it for the last one too. Usually it's like a big secret, like, ooh, we can't even tell you who the new trial boss is going to be because it's going to be this huge story moment. But that really hasn't happened this time. And it sucks. So, Sorrow of Wirlet was absolutely amazing. I cried at the end. That's the Shadowbringers trial story series. And honestly, it feels like they took a really easy way out with the main story quests for these patches.
Yeah, people cried in Tsukuyomi too, right? And that's the trial.
Parts were slice of life stuff. Zero being a character who I like, and is generally pretty well received. And the moments getting to know and sort of chill out with the Scions has been some of the brighter points. So that gives me hope for Dawn Trail, because I think it's going to be more like that stuff. But God, it has felt stretched out and it's felt like a filler, and that has not been fun. That has not really been very engaging for me. Now, the next thing. I know, this is rough, man. The next thing.
We're going through everything. It's okay. Oh, Island Sanctuary. Here we go.
I literally do not know a single person that is excited and happy with how Island Sanctuary turned out. In fact, even when it first came out,
yeah, it's not very customizable.
I remember everybody was kind of shocked that, like, oh, because we thought, oh, we're going to go there and it's going to be this relaxing island getaway vacation. And we get there and it's a fucking management sim, like, spreadsheet thing where you need to assign work schedules to all the little robots. And it's just like, what? The general reaction was, wait, we're here to work? This isn't what I expected at all. You're there by yourself. There's really no reason to go to someone else's island. Almost a garrison.
Yeah, because everyone's island looks the same.
Only, honestly, less fun than the garrison was. It's less interesting than the garrison.
The same concept with the houses. No one goes to people's personal houses. Nobody goes to people's island sanctuaries. And only at the very beginning when people were like collecting the animals and some animals were rare. It's like, ooh, come check out my like griffin, my alligator. But then after that, like there's no hype anymore.
Several hours, and then when you're done, you can fill out the spreadsheet for your workshop. And you can have that done in 15 minutes once a week. And then if you're really into it, that's as much time as it's really gonna take.
Yeah, I think if someone keeps changing up the design in their house, like you keep going back, or they actually organize events, yeah, you have to be pretty proactive with it, right? I wasn't very the only thing I did that was like kind of cool was read the drama stories in my house and other people's houses. I think that was a very cool element to the drama stories. Like a lot of people wanted to be featured. Please come to my FC house or my personal house. Like they liked seeing their house being featured in the YouTube video.
But there's really no reason to do it once you have the mounts and like outfits and stuff that you wanted. It doesn't affect
Island
the
Sanctuary
game at all. Really doesn't affect anything else. So there's no reason to go to anyone else's sanctuary.
Yeah, you just want to collect the items.
Probably the best thing that they did for it was add it so you could put outdoor furnishings there. So I mean that was okay, but
I feel like it didn't change. That didn't change anything for me.
Meant to do because we have housing. Not everyone does, so that's why this is good.
I think it would be cool if you can customize the looks of the buildings, but like I think you can, but there's only like 2 looks at the moment for it. I don't know, more customizable things, I guess, in Island Sanctuary.
It's just not it. The Pandemonium raid story was better than the main story quest. There was a couple of weird champ raids here and there, but by and large, I've enjoyed it, and that's the thing I'm probably enjoying most in the game right now. I don't think it compares to Eden, but it's still
Chat, which was your favorite tier in Endwalker? First, second, or third?
We could talk about the 2-minute meta all day, but this really, no, we're not going to do that right now. I don't even want to get into it right now because it's a
Yo just says third.
And it's not going away anytime soon. The New Deep Dungeon is okay. It's not great for leveling, unfortunately, which is one of the main reasons that people do Deep Dungeon over and over for longevity. For replayability, you might notice a trend here where we're just, the replayability is not a thing. It also feels like they didn't add enough things that were fresh and new to Deep Dungeon, which is sad because Deep Dungeon I feel like is some of the best potential for content in the game that has replayability and longevity, and I really wanted them to add better, more involved progression system within Deep Dungeon. Like, I don't even know what make it more of a roguelite. I wish they would just be a little bit more creative with it, because right now I just don't know anyone that's interested in it. Leveling up,
yeah, that came and went, right? Really, the Deep Dungeon.
Really a pain in the ass. And
don't hear about it anymore
because it doesn't really.
I didn't play it, but I knew people playing it when it came out.
To incentivize people to do it too. But in terms of content that has come out in this expansion, I'd say Deep Dungeon is all right. Like, it's not.
Seems like you guys all agree that the third Savage tier was the best one.
Variant and Criterion.
It was good.
because the content is good. Everybody agrees the
Oh,
content is good.
she
The
likes
fights are well
Criterion.
designed. It's
Yeah,
innovative. It's fresh. It's like,
I
oh,
love
you
it.
got to think about how you're going to pull the mobs
Do you
around.
think
And
the people who design Criterion are like different to the people who design Savage? I wonder.
that has been a breath of fresh air, that they have tried to do something new and different. But it's like they take half measures with innovation. They're afraid to risk too much, change up the formula too much. It seems like they were terrified to add anything into Criterion, that like any kind of new item that you could get through it, anything that might screw up the strict itemization schedule that they have, where certain types of items drop from the alliance rate and then certain types of items drop from the dungeon, and it has to be the specific item level, and they don't want to change it at all. They don't want to give you anything that's going to drop anywhere else that's going to be different. And I think they're really crippling their game by not providing, if they're not going to do the gear rewards from this stuff, I don't know, like find something else to make people go do. I don't know, maybe related to a relic, but they tried to take that out of the game.
Also, it's crippling their game by not having good rewards in Criterion. That I do not get. Like, it's like, it feels like such an easy idea, but I don't know why they didn't want to have good rewards for Criterion. You didn't like Bird from the first tier? I like the Bird. I think it was just hard to PF. Yeah, but I do like the Bird. The second boss was a sleeper in the second tier. Do you think the second boss in the second tier was more sleeper than the third boss? Because like some people be like, P7S was sleeper, and then some people like, no, P6S was more sleeper. I think both are just like, P6S was really fun at the beginning, but then once like you kind of get it, it becomes sleeper. P7S, yeah, also like I think they were all fun at the beginning when I was learning it, but then when you start repeating it over and over again, I don't really like the whole like system where you have to play it every week to get items. Definitely feels like they're just dragging it. Like it probably should be cut in half. Like I get the system, don't get me wrong, but like it just definitely feels like they're dragging it out so you don't feel bored, so that everyone has to get their pieces that way.
This time too, so there's just no reward. There's no.
But then that's how we start thinking it's a sleeper, because
yes,
it drags
like
out so long.
But you can buy that with guild, so it kind of doesn't really mean anything. It doesn't mean that you've cleared it. It doesn't mean much. It's a shame. In all my years of playing, I've never seen
True, Yoja.
Brand new piece of content die.
Oh, well, I want to see what she's talking about with the mount.
There's like this mount, but you can buy that with guild.
Yeah,
so
you can buy it.
Mean anything. It doesn't mean that you've cleared it. It doesn't mean much.
Yeah, that's what sucks about
in all my
it.
Years of playing, I've never seen brand new piece of content die so fast. Brand new content, and in less than a week, no one cared. In fact,
good for making money, but
stuff came out the first time.
Doesn't feel very special.
Savage, and I had, taken my time logging in that day, and when I logged in,
but you know what you can't buy? The title. That's it. The title. As you can't buy that.
I saw.
Just give it a minion also, please.
Had already got the silky mount from the variant dungeon, from clearing all 12 paths of the variant without even really trying. And so they were actually done
cute.
With variant before I could even log in the same day that it came out. There's no reason to return. You can be done with it in a couple of hours.
Yeah, that's what people wanted. They just wanted that mount, and then they were done with it.
In an MMO where you want people to be playing together. But I guess maybe they don't. Maybe they just don't want that anymore.
They should have made that mount harder to get, man.
And addition of crystalline conflict is one of the more positive things that I think of.
But people would have complained about that if it was harder.
These series, Momstones rewards, the PvP rewards.
Do you guys do this?
People engaged with.
Do you guys do this? Like, okay, I admit I was really trying very hard to get all of these, like, every time. Every season I tried to get up to here at least. Get the items. I wanted it. But this season, or even the last, I don't think I got all the way. Yeah, I don't think I got all the way. But I think the reason behind that is because PvP CC started dying. Well, I was on Dynamis, okay? It was dead there. And even like the big PvP front lines, like that was completely dead. Like you couldn't even queue into that. Then once I moved to Aether, I kind of like, maybe because I was on Dynamis and it killed it for me, that once I moved to Aether, I kind of just like didn't go back to playing it anymore. And that's the sad part. Yeah, Dynamis is so dead like that. I think that it just made me think, like, even though I transferred, I just still think it's dead in my mind. So, or something.
With the PvP long term, you can knock it all out in a week or two if you try. So people that do casual, I mean, that still pops fairly often.
I did watch the
but
FanFest competition of PvPCC.
Ranked is really where the fun is, in my opinion. And,
yeah, it's fun.
Ranked players, they do this in the first couple weeks and then they are gone. There's no,
yeah, but
no
when we heard about the cheating stuff with ranked PvPCC, that was a little disheartening, right? People are like, nah. Like, I heard some people straight up say, nah, not playing it because there's cheaters. And it's like, oh. And there's also win trading, right? Like, I heard of like someone, like, you can queue same time with your friend or something, and if your friend goes in the opposite team, they just throw for their friend to win trade. Yeah. That's what straight up ruins CC. That's the problem. There should be some form of punishment if people like intentionally throw like that.
Do it anymore after that. And so yeah, anytime I complain about it, people just say, oh, well, if you're playing FFXIV for the PvP, you're playing the wrong game. And I'm really tired of this defeatist attitude, frankly. There's also people who do not want the game to ask you to do more. Let me tell you something. You don't need the game to not have stuff in it for you to walk away when you're tired. You can just walk away when you're tired. Unfortunately, the FF14 community has developed a little bit of a reputation for not being able to take criticism at all. And this is really damaging to the game as well. We need to be able to discuss when things don't feel right, they don't feel as good as they used to be. And I almost feel like people want to say that they're burnt out because it's easier for others to accept than for them to say, the content this time wasn't fun enough for me. The content didn't make me want to play. The content wasn't something I was excited to do. It's almost like that in itself is a taboo for some people to say. And it's easier for them to accept, well, maybe it's on me. It's just I'm personally
Did she get backlash for this video?
And I think in a lot of cases, maybe that's not true. Because I've never seen this many people claim to be burnt out, and I think it actually has a lot to do with the content more than people are willing to admit. And I'm tired of hearing people say, whenever we bring up these
a lot of people just agreed
about the game and why I want to be able to play it more, but I can't. I'm tired of hearing people say, well, we don't want this to be a game where it's just this huge grind where you need 30 hours a week to stay up to date. No one is saying that.
No, we need to balance.
Jumping to this huge extreme conclusion. I hate that people keep doing this. It's driving me crazy. Like, just because.
I think that's a very good comment, Yoja. The content doesn't keep you around, but the community does. The community is very, very good. Yeah. Community and the content should be both really great.
I say that I would like
it's just going through a rough patch, it sounds like right now.
Please,
if ever.
Log in today or this month. That doesn't mean I want to go full balls to the wall, Shadowlands, renowned grinds.
True, no content means less community, definitely
so stop saying
at times.
That. What we are saying is that we want to play together. We want to feel like the game is an exciting place to be, at least sometimes, at least for maybe 1-2 weeks after the major patch came out. Okay.
Something exciting needs to happen, guys.
Saying they're bored like a week after patch. This is not normal. Okay, I've been around playing this game for long enough to know what
Xenos has to stop reacting to truck videos, you know? Like, you know what? That's exactly why, like, Final Fantasy 14 videos on YouTube are mainly drama videos. There's not enough content that drama happens, and then I can cover the drama. Or Xenos and like other streamers all get into drama, and then I'm just there like, yeah. Lots of the content of Final Fantasy 14 is just drama.
It's normal and what isn't. And this isn't I'm seeing really unhealthy signs right now, and I think this lack of attention to the game from the devs, that's really what it seems like. It seems like laziness. And this hesitation to criticize the game at all on behalf of the player base is going to kill the game eventually. Now, I said I don't want to be a doomer, and I don't think the game is dying.
I was gonna say the most exciting thing that happened for Final Fantasy XIV 2023 was Xenos versus Pyro. Oh my goodness. And like, all the other drama stuff too. Oh, the Lala chair. The Lala chair. Well, actually, that's how their argument started, because of the Lala chair, and then Pyro versus Xenos happened. Oh, and okay, FanFest was amazing. Like, okay, some people will say FanFest sucked, okay, like that's their opinion, but I had a good time in FanFest. Oh, and the billboard. Let's not forget about that billboard. Yeah. Dude, everyone went to that house. I was there at that house.
But these are things that we need to nip in the bud before they get out of hand. You need to be able to admit whenever the content itself is just worse. It's that simple. We're not comfortable with that in this community, because usually every expansion is like the goose laying the golden egg. It's usually pretty damn good. And I'm willing to accept that it's impossible for any game to keep your attention nonstop all the time. That's not what we're asking for either. But what I do want is to not see most of my friends say things like, well, I guess I'll just come back in Dawn Trail. Now, some people are saying, oh, well, it's just because they were so busy working on an FF16 that they had to cut some corners here. I don't know if that's true, and frankly, I don't care. Because the fact is,
seems like a lot of people are riding on the new expansion. Like, it's like a make or break or something, you know? Like, uh-oh. New expansion, are you going to make us happy? I hope so.
If a lot of people feel that way, then it's unacceptable. Maybe Yoshi P's attention has been divided. I mean, he is on the board.
We need that new graphics.
They won't let him for some reason.
7.0.
He had been working on FF16, and he's trying to do direct producer of FF14. I just feel like it's too much. They're working this man too damn hard, and he needs to stop doing everything else that he's got his attention split on.
They're working this man too damn.
Give it his full, undivided attention for Dawn Trail, because I don't ever want to hear anybody saying again, making excuses for them as to why the content seems worse this time around.
Yeah.
The main point I hope I can really get across,
it does seem like an excuse sometimes,
is that this isn't black and white. It shouldn't be a choice between so much pressure to log in that there's like FOMO even. You have to log in right now or you're missing out. There's somewhere better to be between that and we're not asking you to do anything. So why do you care? I guess you need to think of your own reason to care. And most people don't, because they're constantly being barraged on all sides by a million other games and are working very hard to give them lots of reasons to care about logging into those other games. And I'm sorry to say, but FFXIV needs to fight a little harder for people's time and not take it for granted that people will just always come back and always play. And like, yes, maybe they will for the expansions, but what about the rest of the time? One thing I would say also as another little addendum, DSR was probably the best experience I've ever had in gaming.
Everyone says that.
DSR, the Ultimate Raid that came out in Endwalker, was the most fun I've ever had in a game, period. It was phenomenal. It showed me just how amazing battle content in FFXIV can be. It showed me that the game can be so thrilling and so engaging and so exciting when the battle content is designed around what you need to do and keeps you like invested and engaged and like your choices matter. And if you
everyone loved DSR but hated top. Oh, you had more fun in top, but it was the people I played with, not the content.
And maybe because of that experience, I continue to set a very high standard for it, and I want them to do the same. Now, that is not actually all I have to say about this topic, but the next part of this discussion is about the casual experience, and that's going to be my next video, because
this could have been 2 videos.
Seems like some people like to say, oh, well, it's all for the casuals. They're just dumbing down the game for the casuals. And I got news for you. The casual experience is really suffering as well. And so I'm going to be talking about that in the next video. And I know some of y'all are not going to be happy that I made a negative video or critical video. The next one
I'm
is
okay
also
with it.
pointing out things that could be improved. But I really hope that you can get real comfortable real fast with constructive criticism of the game.
Cool. She's making a part 2.
We all
Let's
need to
go.
get real cool about it real quick if we want this game to really thrive, because
Yeah, being critical is very important.
we need to hear from all sides, we need to hear from all perspectives, and I can hear the canary in the coal
It's a
mine, is what I'm
discussion.
saying, and I want positive change. And so we're never going to get that if we just plug our ears and close our eyes and act like, oh, everything's perfect.
True.
That's stupid. Okay, well, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Please tell me about your thoughts on the Endwalker patches. Have you been spending this time putting 200 hours into Baldur's Gate 3 like I have? And
I haven't touched Baldur's Gate 3.
What other games are you playing?
But everyone is
you're still going through the story,
touching that game.
You have found things to do in the game. You've created your own self-directed goals that have kept you entertained. If so, please let me know all about that in the comment section down below. Again, I want to reiterate that many people are having fun with expansion. It's not like the worst game ever. It's not like it's horrible.
Yeah, but if majority is not having
don't
fun, then we kind of have to discuss it for sure.
But FFXIV is a game that has set a very high bar across all of its expansions, and I've been playing for a long time, keeping up to date with every story, every major patch, and this one has felt different. Okay, it's felt worse, frankly. So yeah. Thanks again for watching. If you like this video, please consider supporting the channel on Patreon or on Twitch. You can also support the channel for free by clicking the subscribe button or by sharing this video with your fellow warriors of light. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye, Zepla. Give it a like. But I just want to say, like, we all care about the game, so it is very important. Like, if most people are upset or not enjoying something, like, it's just good that, you know, we have someone like Zepla who can, like, she's a good person with a voice, who has like a huge following, and people will like watch her video and be like, yeah, let's try and make the game better. Make sure this game lasts like 10 more years. It would be very, very sad if, like, you know, Final Fantasy one day died later down the road, but like, I wouldn't want that. I want to log in when I'm old.